So we're actually going to talk about cuts of pork, and we're going to talk about poultry kind of all in one, mainly because poultry is very simplistic, and we'll talk about that as soon as we get done with pork. But again, here's your happy little pig. You've got your fat back, your clear plate, Boston butt, picnic shoulder, jowl, spare ribs, loin, bacon, ham, and pig's feet. So your wholesale cuts of pork. And again, just like in the cow, you have high value and low value cuts. So your high value cuts are going to be the loin, the ham or the leg, the picnic shoulder, and the Boston shoulder. And those are 4 cuts that make up about 75% of the retail value of the carcass. Basically, that's just a fancy way of saying that those 4 cuts right there bring in 75% of the money that pig is worth. Your low value wholesale cuts are going to be the spare ribs or belly, the feet, jowl, fat back, spare ribs or side, and bacon. And yes, as delicious as bacon is, it is technically a low value cut of pork. And again, here are your retail cuts. And again, you don't necessarily need to know all of them because just like in the cow, there's a ton of retail cuts of pork. But these are the ones that you need to know. Your high value is the ham that comes from the leg, the loin, which comes from the loin, the pork chops that also come from the loin, the Boston butt, which comes from the Boston shoulder, and then the picnic, which comes from the picnic shoulder. And then your low value are going to be your hocks, spare ribs, belly, bacon, jowl, and fat back. So like I said, there's a ton of retail cuts that come from the wholesale cuts of pork, but the ones that we talked about are the ones you need to know. This is just kind of like a for your information. So this is actually the ham of a pig, and you can buy wholesale cuts whole as well. You don't necessarily have to purchase the retail cuts. This is your loin. And again, remember, this is essentially in the same place as it is on a cow. It's just smaller. This is your picnic shoulder. There's your Boston shoulder. And then here are your low value cuts of pork. So these are actually your spare ribs, bacon, jowl, and pig's feet. And then as far as cuts of poultry go, so poultry, because they're very small, they're not classified into wholesale and retail cuts, purely because they're on such a smaller scale than your pork and your beef. The USDA sets these standards for what's called ready-to-cook chicken, and the ready-to-cook basically just means that all the other organs have been removed, the feathers have been removed, all the viscera and blood has been drained out of it, and you can literally just take that carcass and put it in the oven. That's a ready-to-cook chicken. But the USDA sets standards for these ready-to-cook chicken and turkeys, whether they're sold whole or as parts or cuts of poultry. So, essentially, these are your cuts of poultry, okay? They're basically processed into chicken parts. So you've got your poultry halves, you've got breasts, legs and thighs, drumsticks, wings, and tenderloins. And there's more. There's more to it, obviously, than that, but these are the main ones that you'll find. This diagram kind of details all the different ones that you can get. You can get a leg quarter, you can get a whole leg, you can get a boneless, skinless chicken breast, you can get breast with the skin on, you can get a whole bunch of different varieties of these cuts, but because chickens are so much smaller than our cattle and our pigs, they're not really processed into wholesale versus retail, they're just processed into parts. As always, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or accusations. I wanted to kind of give you an easy week, so to speak. Maybe not easy, but maybe a little bit less material this week, so we can get caught up on some stuff. So let me know if you have any questions on anything that you're missing or need to get caught up on.